Welcome, everyone, to another episode of FitFam. We're almost into the new year. As we're going to be talking about that and goal setting, but hopefully from an angle that helps you to make some movement this year. As always, this is Miss Natural Olympia, Hillary.
And this is Doug the Formulator.
And so, obviously, this is a subject that everyone's talking about right now, setting New Year's goals and thinking about the previous year. And what can we say to make 2026 different and to achieve the dreams and that you have? And we're going to go through that a bit. And I think for me, just kind of a thought wasn't even in our discussion was the importance of setting goals and being good in each key area of life, but then looking to what your calling is, what you feel your superpower is, or that your deep desire is, even, and letting that, you know, go a little bit crazy. Like,
That's
you can
interesting.
spend more time on it, but yet you still need to be good in all areas,
That
not bad in one of them.
that's really funny that you say that because as I was just kind of going through everything that we had put together, a thought came to me and I was like, you know what? I'm going to mention, asterisk to the one that is the one for
Mm,
this year. That because your calling is one thing and that can be the one all the time, but there's specific times in different in areas of your life where one of the four things that we're going to talk about would be paramount.
oh, that's a really
You know
good
what I'm
point.
saying?
If one is bad or one is really lacking, it's going to hold
Or
everything down, right?
or a life shift,
Mhm.
you're a mother for the first time, you're newly married for the first time, you've moved to a new city. So there's going to be situational things
Mm,
where one of them might need to take priority.
that's a
And
really good
for
point.
everybody, make a little asterisk and be like, okay, these are the goals for the year, but this is my big gnarly thing that I'm going to, take on.
I love that. I love that. And so let's explain the four core areas,
Okay.
and
So I'm just gonna show it.
we'll make this available in the notes. You can download this.
This has been our family's go-to for a lot of years, and I'll let Doug explain the pillars. But the four goals, or the four areas for goals that we talk about, are physical, spiritual, financial, and service.
Absolutely. And so when Hillary talks about pillars, what it means is we're kind of basing it off the two pillars from Solomon's temple, and how that the base of each pillar is critical. That when you take a look at the service to others and the spiritual, those are the two critical components. Without them being strong, the financial and the physical many times falls apart. And so it's really important to have those in place, but all four are important for the goal setting. But it's kind of cool to use the pillar concept.
So also this is kind of what I meant. Like if you're a young mother and you have young children at home, your service is going to be highly centered on your family.
Yeah,
And that's
and
important
many
because
times
that's where
taken
it
care of
should be.
because you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. So and that's where it has to be. So that would be the thing that, is getting your
Attention.
highlighter. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a good point. And so let's go through each of them. And I think before we do, why don't we talk about the impact that this has had on our life and our family's life? Um,
Just finishing my nano.
and then their new go-to, Nano Blue with glutathione mixed together. Ooh, game changer. And so what's interesting is we go through, and I think as everyone does, you go through and clean up, rooms in the office room, the closets and stuff every year. And I've loved that over the years we've found some of these papers from 4, 5, 6 years
Oh, longer
past,
than 6.
and we look at them, and then each kid had their own, and we're like, oh my gosh, those things have come about for them or for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And in looking back is like, wow, once you put it in place, words down, and then envision it, it's hard for it not to happen. If you just take the actions as they come up, and it might take longer than you think based on how fast you take action, but it's crazy how it happens.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And what's really cool or something to look at is that each year they're the goals for that year, but we shape our lives and they look kind of the same year after year, but we're just trying to progress, right? And so my goal setting in physical really is the same thing every year, and there were years where I didn't get close, and then there were years where I got closer and closer. And so, and even though the main goal probably changed, like my main goal to be, a natural Olympia champion, that sometimes changed from year to year. I was like, hey, that's not going to be my main physical goal this year, but I had written it previously and then through the years gotten close to that. So I think there's power, even if it changes through the years, there's power in writing it down and creating the steps to achieve.
I like that. And so on these goal sheets at the top, in next to each one, the physical, the spiritual, the financial services, LT. That means your long-term goal, not just the next, not 2026 goal. What's your long-term vision
Right.
of yourself in each of these areas? And then you have the goal for the year. And I think that's important because, as Hillary said, you'll see that come about over time. And it's important to look at what you want long-term and allow your yearly goals, and then, breaking it all the way down to the day, reflect that they're going to get you closer to
So
that. So,
why don't you kind of explain that right
okay.
now?
So basically, if you hold that up, basically our long-term goal physical. So that one could be like with Hillary, one of the big physical ones being Miss Natural Olympia, right? Or it can be we have a client that wants to be able to dance with his grandchild or great grandchild,
Granddaughter.
granddaughter at her wedding. Well, that's going to make him 84, I think, when that happens. And that's the long time vision of physical for him. And then for the year, we have goals set for him for 2026 with specific things needed. So at the end of the year, he's going to be healthier and he's going to accomplish those things, but it does lead to the end result.
Okay, so let's
Let's get there.
jump in.
So let's go ahead and we're going to jump around a little bit. Let's start with financial. And I think that the key that I'd like to promote with that is to create your long-term goal of what you really see in the future, what financial looks for you and your family. And I think that's so important if you're married to be aligned with that. Really, what is the overall end goal financially, to be completely out of debt, to have generational wealth, to, just live comfortably, whatever it is. And everyone is different. That's fine. That's just your goals. But I think that in the marriage, it's critical. And I know that, us being aligned or even agree with each other on those goals has helped tremendously.
Yeah, no, I would agree wholeheartedly that if you are a unit, then that needs to be something that you discuss. Not that the goals for each of you are the same, but that the long-term goal
Is it aligned?
is aligned and looks very similar. Um, I know in the past I've done different things. Doug's, for example, a few years back, what was your main financial goal for
Yeah,
us?
yeah.
To get out of debt. And it took a couple years, but we surely dug right out of that debt, right?
Mhm.
And then, my goals were, of course, getting out of debt, but then also making less stress around different things that I wanted to experience. So the way that I would save money for different, or store money for different things,
Mhm.
to make, like Christmas a different type of experience. So I would make sure that I saved daily for a really special Christmas, because that's what was important to me financially, is to be able to provide a Christmas for our children and for our family that felt very, very special, and
Not put strain on the
not put but
family.
also not put strain on, yeah, the family finances.
Yeah, absolutely. So clarity and confidence is, I think, a big one that you need to look to for the finances, and then an alignment for sure, right?
Yeah. And then what it does is it allows freedom. Money allows freedom and options. It becomes a tool and not a stressor.
And that is huge. I think that's a big key there. And your words are perfect. Is not a tool, not a stressor. And once we got to a point where we could use finances as a tool versus a stress, our life changed in itself. But it happened one step at a time. And I also like the legacy mindset, the long-term plan for the family, for the grandchildren, putting things in place. And you have to go a step at a time. But if your
Absolutely.
long-term goal is more of a legacy mindset, you're going to get yourself in a position that you're out of debt, yourself in a position that you don't use money as or it's not a stressor, it's a tool. And then being able to, oh, here's what we can put in place, with the different insurance and IRAs and stuff for grandkids and things
And I
like
just want to say you can be very, very imaginative when you are creating your goals for the year. And then also, something that I know a lot of people have utilized, and Doug and I are going to utilize this year, is a vision board.
that.
So, write down the actual goals and then create a vision board that directly reflects what you've written on your page. And I think when we're talking about something, a financial goal, I think you can be very fun and creative when you're trying to decide what those are. It might be a certain car that you're hoping to purchase this year. It might be getting out of debt. It might be
Home.
creating savings. It might be a home. All of the things. So, yeah.
I love that. And we could spend all day on each one, and we want to get through these and get you off to start doing this yourself. But on the financial one, I can think of two as one is our son made one like 10, 12
Oh my
years ago
gosh.
and had a picture of a car and I forgot about it. Found it 10 years later, that vision board, and that was the actual first car he bought when he could actually buy his own car and what he wanted. It was just mind blowing to him. Like he didn't even realize that. And we had an athlete that wanted to buy a home for his mom, and that was his focus. So when he finally got enough money to do that, he did. And she didn't even like the home. He's like, "No, that's the one you're getting. You can sell it." But that was my vision, to come about. And so it's kind of funny. Shout out to
Okay.
what's it? Love it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. Spiritual. This is an interesting one because it's different for everyone, right?
Yeah, it is very different for everyone. And it also, speaking of a couple and a unit, it can be very different. So being aligned together and sharing your goals with one another as they're being created is really powerful. What Doug and I like to do is take some time. Um, we'll be together doing it, but we're individual. We're sitting and doing our own goals. And before we do that, we kind of talk with each other, like, what are you thinking for this year? What's really important to you this year? And where do you want to focus in? And so just taking time and then together discussing and then separating and being very because spiritually Hillary's on a journey. And Doug is kind of how would you say that? Very, very set. You believe what you believe?
My path's pretty solid, yeah.
Yeah. Your
Path.
my path is pretty solid. And so yeah, I the spiritual one can be very different for
Mhm.
even each person within a couple. But make it unique to you and to what you're really striving to find. For some people, it's making it to church, right? Every every Sunday in 2026, or I'm going to explore different churches in
Yeah.
2026,
Or it could be
or
scripture study, how much
scripture
you're going to do,
study,
things
or how
like that.
much time you're going to spend meditating, how much time you're going to spend with yourself and with scripture and or
Mhm.
books to help with spirituality.
And I think that the key with that is look at the LT, the spiritual LT long term, and see if you can come up together what long term what that would look like for you if you can. And I think you can get pretty aligned
Yes.
if you're doing this as a couple and then individually completely different places at different times, and that's okay because the long term goal is in alignment. And that's I think out of all of them, that one's really, really, really critical. And
Yeah,
then
and I also want to say, if you're doing this as a family, because we've done this many years as a family, allow your children to come up with their own goals. And if they're struggling, definitely ask if you can help, but allow your children to come up with what is important to them and don't scoff at it
yeah,
because what's
give them grace within that,
give
right?
them grace. Yeah, because what's important to them is probably not the thing that feels most important to you.
Or what you think
So,
should be for
or
them.
what should be most important. That's it. Okay. Sorry.
It's all right. No, that's great. Let's go into the physical one. I think this one,
No, so one thing we didn't really finish the benefits
oh,
of
benefits of
spirituality.
spiritual,
Yeah.
right?
So, I think one of the benefits is feeling peace and centered, right?
I like that. And one of my favorites is you knowing your purpose and your identity. And to me, that one's critical because if you know your purpose and you believe that you're called to do a certain thing specifically, like, patriarch, provider, protector as a guy or whatever it might be for you, um, and you feel that's your purpose, then that creates an identity. And that identity then can go forward and the outside, words and havoc and just hustle and bustle and whatever comes your way, negativity, even positivity, it doesn't matter, whatever comes your way just bounces off you because you know who you are.
Yeah, you
And it's
become
like, you have blue hair right now. Well, she's not going to question that. She knows she doesn't have blue hair, right? So her identity is there, and if we can have that same outlook on who we are, then words shouldn't matter. Like, I know who I am, right? And I think the spiritual goal can create that for people, your purpose and identity, and then you don't live in fear and you don't care what people think per se, right? That you're your person and you want to be nice and you want to do good, you want to serve people, but your purpose and identity overrides all that stuff that actually causes stress in
yeah,
life.
so basically you're saying you become more resilient. Yeah,
Yes, I like that.
to others' opinions. Okay, now we can get into physical.
I like it.
Okay.
So the physical one, I obviously with our work and our lifestyle, we're a little bit prejudiced toward this, but the older I get, the more I realize that without this goal, nothing else can be achieved at the highest level. And even the spiritual goal, because we just had a lot, not just, we've had lots of situations where people have come back that are extremely spiritual and said, you know, I thought I was doing good, but I really couldn't even serve. And people actually had to serve me because I didn't follow the right practices to stay healthy and fit.
Mm.
And like, gosh, it actually got reversed because they didn't choose to follow the laws that provide optimal health. And those laws, I believe, are spiritual laws too, that they come from your creator. So uh, David Meltzer, right? If you have your health, you have 10,000 wishes. If you don't, you have one. It's so important to understand that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And here's the thing with your health, it provides energy and it provides confidence, which is huge in this world where we're constantly needing a lot of energy. Um, the world seems faster, is it?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then it also seeps discipline. When you have discipline physically, it kind of seeps into other areas of your life as well,
100%.
right?
And so make sure you look at your long-term goal and make it a positive one. Uh, Living to a ripe old age with a young body and mind. Being able to set goals like that physically of what you want to accomplish, and like you're wanting to accomplish something at a certain age. And I always want to be able to do certain things with my grandkids and eventually even great grandkids. Is like, hey, I want to be able to water ski or take them places and run with them,
Hmm.
and that is so important. That it leads you to do the things that are just can be some tedious and monotonous and all that, but you do it because you want to enjoy those moments.
Yeah, and I like the idea of getting really specific with your physical goal. Like even what you just said there, uh, water skiing with my grandson when he turns 10. Something that pushes the age gap and makes you live into the future, right? Because that's what we're talking about
Yeah,
right now is
absolutely.
being your future self. So yeah, something that creates longevity and quality of life.
It also helps you set your quarterly goals and monthly goals correctly, because I know a lot of people that don't look at the long-term health aspect, and they'll sacrifice the way they think is good health, the muscles, the different things, and they're actually taking away the long-term health.
And
And it helps you to create the right decisions in the moment too.
and physical is health. Physical is also talking about the way that you feed yourself nutritionally. So I just want to put that out there. Um,
So
Doug will tell you right now that he's just recently hit midlife,
yeah,
right?
yeah, just recently.
Yeah.
So halfway there, 60, halfway. And I think that the goals for that moment in time, right? So many push-ups, so many pull-ups, being able to do different things. was important. And I think having those goals is a good way to even lay out for the year. Is you want to be able to do, how many push-ups by the end of the year, the bench press, running, whatever it might be. And I think that those specific things are great. And as Hillary mentioned, the nutrition is a huge part of it. I recommend everyone get a DEXA scan that tells you your body fat,
So good.
subcutaneously, and also body fat around the organs, the visceral fat, and set your goals towards that, because it's that visceral fat that actually creates a lot of disease and degeneration. And then you can see what you're doing is helping that. I know a lot of people that work out all the time, they do all this stuff, and they think they're doing the right thing, but really, if they did a DEXA scan, they'd see like they're probably going backwards.
Yeah, and actually what's really cool to do a DEXA scan at the beginning of the year is that now you have your data with your goals, right? You can actually set specific markers with numbers and amounts next to your goal.
Data
So
is everything.
yeah, data is everything. And
So just type in to your browser on your phone or computer, DEXA, DEXA scan near me, and it'll tell you
yeah,
where you can go.
so good,
Okay.
so good. Okay, and then the final of the 4 pillars is service.
Service.
Doug is really great at this one as well.
No, I think you are. I was just going to say you are with it.
So
So
service is it's about giving back, mentorship, community support, family support. And I would say for me, and I believe this for everyone actually, that your first service should be within the 4 walls of your home.
100%. And if you're not giving full service there, then you're making excuses. The 100% agree. My dad taught me that growing up so much. Like, he turned down different things from church, from work, from everything else, if he thought he wasn't going to be able to give the service he wanted to give to his wife and to us kids. And I look back at that and I just like admire that at such the highest level, because it's really what made the difference. And so you're 100% right. I think and service, just so that we kind of lay it out, service is doing things for others without any expectation of return. And there's a huge difference there. So many people, I gave this service, so I expect this. And they'll say it for like, gosh, I have someone I'm thinking over now that said it from like 15 years ago. And like, well, I did this, so, you owe me this. And I'm like, wow, then it wasn't service. You might have done something, but you expected a return. That's a contract. And a big difference. And so the service really comes down to that. And your long-term service is really a lot of times more of a legacy. What would you like to be known for? Would you like to be known as someone that served and gave, whenever you could, but you focused, really focused in on family? And that's my thing, is I hope that people know that no matter what my wife needs, I'm there, and that's number one. And then the children. And then from there, everyone else, especially within our circle and anything we do in the community and the world. But it goes in that specific order. So look down, see what you can do for those closest to you with service, and doing it without any expectation, and maybe focus on that this year, and then watch how it expands from there.
Yeah, and I think maybe watch the way that you speak, and realize if you're finding yourself thinking things like, "But I did this or I did that for you," then it wasn't service. It wasn't something that you were willing to give wholeheartedly, unselfishly, without any expectation of return. And I know I'm working on that. I really, really love that one. So the benefits of that are just your impact. Your goals become something bigger than yourself, right?
Absolutely. And I think the best part of service is just seeing what it does in people's lives, and having that gratitude, and that the humility. I think for us, when we give in service the most, even especially outside of the family, and then just sitting back saying, "Oh my gosh, what a blessing it is for the things that we have already received," and you kind of get that humbling feeling, which is important.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of where we find most of our true joy, right? Is giving service to others. So, stepping outside of ourselves and into giving to others. So, I think those are the 4.
Those are the four, and we encourage you to do it. And I think let's just kind of finish up on my thoughts and give your thoughts on it. My thoughts overall is really, I heard someone the other day that gave a complete different view of what success is in this world, someone I respect dramatically. And I'm like, wow, that is a different thought, and I love it. And what he said was that success is for you to determine what your superpower is, your calling is, like what was given to you that couldn't be given to any other person on the planet that you can fulfill if you really give your all and you have that balance in those areas. But which one is specific to you to actually go that extra mile, that you have that specialty superpower in doing the things daily so that you can grow into that power, into that ability, and then accomplishing it. That success is finding out who you are, what you are called to do, and working daily to improve yourself so that you can truly fulfill it. And I thought that's kind of a really cool look. And how do you do that? Set these goals, those 4 areas, be good in all of them, be great at whichever ones you're calling, and watch what happens.
I like that. I'm going to go in an opposite
I
direction.
like
And I'm going to say, don't overwhelm yourself with big, gnarly goals if it feels like a stressor, if it feels like, I'm going to write these goals down and then I'm going to shrink because they're too much for me. So I would say, look at these goals and think, what can I realistically do, and set them for yourself. Long term, sure, shoot big. Like, let's go big with that long term goal and do everything we can to attain it. But if 2026 is kind of a reset year, then let's just create 4 goals under each one that you can do daily, even if they are the
better
tiniest steps.
habits.
Just better habits, just simple better habits. And each of the goals, it doesn't always mean that it's something that you do daily. So just to think broader than that. It can be, calling somebody once a week, that kind of thing. So like, I think sometimes we think they have to be these daily steps that we do all the time, no matter what. And then if I'm somebody that, that's like me, I'm looking at it, I'm going, oh my God, there's 16 new things that I have to do every single day. It's not like that. It's creating goals, little things that you can bite off every day.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then just keep chewing.
And then just, he loves that one. Keep chewing.
Well, and I hope that you can kind of see the dynamic here too. I think why one thing that I love so much about Hillary and our marriage is going on our 25th year. Whoop, whoop, is that she always says, her job is to keep me from burning up in the sunlight, going too high and too fast and too hard, and my job's to help lift her up. And you can see that with our goals is that a lot of times I go so crazy with them and I'm all out, like the office is feeling that today. I've been told.
I feel bad. I feel so bad.
And a lot of times for Hillary in the past, it's been, am I worthy? I get going. Do I step into this? And the combo of the two creates this beautiful union and the ability for us to reach our goals in each area. So it doesn't matter who you are and what your strengths are, weaknesses are, and that really, I think, just coming to setting your goals with who you are, that enough to push you. And if you're a person that you can push yourself big time, great. If you're a person that, hey, I'm going to be better than the year than when I started, that's great too. I think find your sweet spot, maybe give it that
I
little
like
push.
that. Find
go
your
from
sweet
there.
spot.
All right.
Okay.
As always, Miss Natural Olympia, Hillary.
I thought you were going to forget it. This is Doug, the Formulator.
And then check the notes from this episode to be able to download yours. We love to hear some of your goals. If you'll put it in the comments, please. And we'll look forward to an awesome 2026. Let's chew.
I thought I was going to say whoop whoop again.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Whoop whoop.